Welcome to the Business Spotlight. My name is Jada Walker. I am your host for today's conversation, and my guest today is Mike DeSart. He is the founder and creative director of DeSart Studios. We'll be talking about his business, journey to business ownership, challenges, best practices, and share a peek of what it's really like to build and operate a business. So, Mike, welcome to the show, and thank you for being here today. I'd love for you to give us a little bit of background of who you are and tell us a little bit about your business as well.
Wonderful. Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. So, yeah, I'm Mike DeSart, owner of DeSart Studios, and really the business has been around for 2.5 years full time. It's been kind of off and on before that. And so we really work with innovators and that are working through different transformations. So we partner with them in kind of helping steward their brand and brand redesigns and relaunches, as well as doing a lot of website work, since that's sort of the first place a brand gets applied to a company, and every company needs a website. And so we really focus on those two things.
That's really cool. I actually I went to school for art for a little bit. I dropped out. So
Yeah.
that's a whole nother story. But I know a little bit about the art background and all of that stuff. So I'm gonna love this conversation. So let's
Yeah.
go ahead and set the stage for our viewers and listeners. So generally speaking, what does your current ownership structure look like?
Yeah, so I'm complete 100% owner, and I have uh, employees. There's zero investors. I've just kind of bootstrapped it myself, and I like to keep things small and agile. I think that's the best move in just business today. It has worked out really great so far to bring on freelancers and other studio partners and agencies when I need them, and partner with them that way. But yeah, 100% owner.
Oh, that's cool. So you do have like a few employees. So what is their role in this?
Yeah, so I have we call her Rachel, who's client success and also project management. So she really does a lot of things that are more logistics based, and keeping right the trains running on time and making sure projects are on budget and on time, as well as doing some admin work for us, and just general logistical things throughout the business. So she's a great person to have on. She's really a generalist that can handle a lot of things. So, and then we have another person, Christian, who does sort of strategy with businesses, and then also UX side of things, where we're kind of, when it comes to websites, really figuring out the information architecture and how a site should be laid out, the strategy behind it, making sure all the forms and user experience on the website is really top notch.
Cool. Awesome. So it's like a team of three.
Yeah, so we have 3 people right now, and then, like I said, we really focus on partnering with other people, and it's been a real strength. And there's like, some friction sometimes when you have a client who wants ABC, and you like have to go and find that work with people. But our network is pretty large and really strong, and so it really works out
Nice.
that way. Yeah.
I was gonna say because I know some like I feel like there are a lot of artists out there, so it may be a little I guess easy, not so easy because some people aren't actually the best at their job like they think they are. I guess you know what I mean.
Right.
So
Yes.
so it's like I get it's very understandable. I can see where it could be easy, but also be hard at the same time to find those other people to help out at the time when you need them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So when you look at your role, how many hours do you spend working in the business, like on the job? And then how many do you work on the business for strategy and planning?
Yeah, that's a great question. So really it was when I first started, it was just kind of me. I would call it even mostly a freelancing thing. And I was my background more too is I've been a designer for over 20 years. I started with an internship in college and went to school in LA and did a lot of print design and graphic design, and then
I
moved to
love print design.
yeah,
Those ones are so cool.
really fun. It's dying and it's sad. not as many people want it, but it was really fun, and high stakes. When you send stuff off to a printer, you make sure you don't want to have a spelling mistake. And I have
Right.
some stories there, but we can talk about that later. But then, yeah, I moved to Silicon Valley in 2007. And
Nice.
so really moved into a lot of, website work, and worked at a bunch of different companies, and so did a lot more digital and website and branding. Now I live in Austin, and I've been here for almost 9 years. So yeah, a long time. But yeah, the last 2.5, 3 years, I've really built out DeSart Studios. And so at first, right, it was like 100% of everything. I was just trying, scrambling and
Right.
working, building. And so, more recently, I spent about 20 to 25% of my time working on the business, and figuring out ways to improve processes, and doing marketing work, and social. And so that's been really helpful, to really kind of hone in and do that. And we focused on really branding and websites more recently. We had done kind of a lot of marketing. We had continued to do some print work as well, and just kind of whatever companies needed. And we're sort of that. Um, but really, like, it was stretching my focus way too far. And then, like I said, when we try to, like, when we accept a partnership with a company, and they need a bunch of different things, it's kind of hard to find timing and the right people, and kind of coordinate that, like a conductor of a symphony, right?
Yeah,
um
yeah.
so I really like, I'm focusing on brand and websites now, and that feels really good, because it's by the project, and it has clear definitions. And so doing a lot more of that. And I like to stay high level, and then I use other people to kind of do more of the production work, or testing of the website, or when it comes to brand,
Nice.
like all those different things. So yeah.
Cool. That's really cool. I'm
Yeah.
like, yo, that's like really cool. Okay, so before we get into the nitty gritty of the business itself, let's look into your background a bit and what led you here. So, why did you choose to go into business for yourself, and as opposed to going into working for someone else?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've never really been entrepreneurial, like, at all in my life before. I got the internship, I got the jobs, I did the jobs, I like worked in corporate America. I worked
Mm-hmm.
for SurveyMonkey, and I worked for LinkedIn and a bunch of other startups. So I liked startups. So I guess there was an aspect of, I didn't like being in large companies where you're just a small kind of part of it. So I liked seeing my
Mm,
work have impact. And the smaller the company, the bigger the impact. And so really, like, that led me to kind of think about entrepreneurship more. And um, just through talking with various people about how they've started their own businesses, and doing, consulting, and starting a business after having like a long career within a certain area. It seems to be pretty common, actually. And then also, it just comes down to, like, wanting to have the freedom and flexibility of working for myself, and everything that comes with it. So it was a pretty easy transition to move into that. But at the same time, I then had to learn sales, and I had to learn admin and
yeah.
marketing, and, like, and you have to have a good grasp of that. And now we have, like, some people that help with different parts of that, which is great. But yeah, it was really like going to school again to become an entrepreneur, and, like, run a successful business, as opposed to just being kind of a freelancer that just does the same thing as a job, but you're just kind of doing it for yourself. So really turning it into a business was a big mind shift, and it took a lot of time, actually. And but yeah, it's
Yeah,
great.
no, because I've definitely tried to do some freelancing myself.
Yeah.
But it's like I don't know. I don't think I'm the freelancer type of person. Like I just think I need to be at a job where someone tells me what to do. I'm that person. I don't know why I am, but I am. I'll admit it. I'm that person. I need
Most,
someone to
like,
tell me what to do sometimes.
95% of people fall into that. And I think that's where I, like, moved over to working for myself, because I had pretty great managers, some not, but really, like, I can see in my mind how to do my job really well. And so not being
Yeah.
able to like flesh that out and actually like execute all the things that I knew I could do because there was politics within the company, or a manager would say we don't have money to explore that, or we can't do this.
Mm,
And so yeah, I really kind of, and when someone tells me what to do, like that artist inside of me kind of gets like rebellious and is like, I'm going to do the opposite of that. Like so
See,
but
and it's
yeah,
funny because I have that person inside me as well. It's just she doesn't speak up high.
yeah. Well, and there's, there's a lot of like, it's great to have hobbies and interests outside of work too.
Yeah.
There's something to be said about having that base of work, and even within, I'm in a business group, and we kind of call it sort of a corporate sponsor job in a way where you really have, you work for a company, but you're also working on your side projects. And I really like
Mm,
wish everyone would think about that, and become more entrepreneurial in today's world because you can, it's so easy. And also just, for anyone who's been laid off from a company at all, like, having 100% of your income in one basket and then losing it all the next day is pretty tough transition, right? And you're scrambling. And so
yes.
really like kind of forging your own path and deciding what you want to do, and but doing that small at first, and still having a job is totally like, I would suggest that really. And I had thought about and had been doing this on the side ever since I started working. I did this on the side, so I always kept it going, and spending some time, and friends or other colleagues would need small projects, and so I would take those on and do it. So I kind of been practicing for it for a long time, and then finally
Yeah.
full time.
No, I love that. So, whenever you look back on your journey so far, what has been a memorable roadblock or hurdle that you have been challenged with and you were forced to overcome?
Yeah, just one. So I think it really comes
I'm
down
like, you could
to,
tell me multiple if you want.
yeah, we could go for how much time? No. I think there are a lot of roadblocks, and I think it comes down to mindset, right? Where
Mm,
you're not used to thinking a certain way, and talking to more entrepreneurs and seeing them work and seeing what they do in their businesses is they just, you have to have 100% of belief and 100% of the time in what you're doing. And problems come up all the time, and they're all in different,
yes.
areas and ways. But you just kind of plow through them, and just say like, this, this is a problem, let's break it up, let's put it on a whiteboard, let's figure it out, and like break it down into the steps, and figure out how to overcome it. So I would say like creating a system to really like um process different kind of roadblocks and hurdles is the best thing to do, because they're always going to be there. And so, when something comes up, to not be surprised about it, but have,
Yeah.
this system in place of like, okay, um, we lost a partner that we're working with halfway through a project, like we need to scramble and stuff. So like we have a whole pool of agencies and freelancers and partners that we work with already, and we keep that ready to go, and we have notes around, what their specialties are. And so instead of freaking out and saying, oh no, this is, we're going to have to cancel the project, this is going to go wrong, that we have like this base of like, no, we're going to do step one, two, and three, and move.
Yeah. That's
So
that almost is almost like therapy, how they you have steps where you work through like I guess like your anger. I've never been to therapy, I probably should, but I've seen it on TV shows where they're like, you have steps, you do this, da da da. And I'm like, that
yeah.
that sounds really like therapy. That's cool. I
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, it definitely is. I think like being an entrepreneur, like everything really connects to everything else. Like it helps me be
Hmm.
a better parent, and parenting helps me be a better business person. Like it's, I don't think of life in these like siloed buckets. And that's why having like, a business where I can decide what it looks like and how I work within it it's a double-edged sword, but it's mostly like
Yeah.
really, freeing, and gives a lot of autonomy. You just have to be able to, overcome some of those roadblocks and have systems in place for when things inevitably, go off the rails.
Yeah. I love that answer. That was great. So let's actually move on to what makes your business so special. Why do your clients or anyone, why would they choose you guys instead of your competition?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think when it comes down to brand, and we think about brand all the time, and that's what we do, right? And um when you think about that, looking at your competition often, seeing what they're doing. I see this all the time of, founders or marketing VPs that we work with are like, we really like ABC company in our industry. We want to essentially copy their website, right? We want to say what they say,
Mm-hmm.
make it easy for people to compare. So um, we really like are purposely different, and that's why we focus on um, really transformation, and elevating a brand to be something different, and new. Because when you're branding something, and yourself included, like, we don't want to look like other agencies. We don't have want to have a standard like services thing and use
Yeah.
all the same lingo. We kind of purposely want to be different, because then it kind of signals to people that, like, okay, like, I'm going to get, something that's maybe a bit more innovative, a new process, a new, something here that's going to be better than the way people are doing it. So yeah, we really focus on doing all of, really exploring a lot of new technologies and new things to get our work done. um and if it's better, it's better, and we use it, and it works better. And so that's where our customers, they really have to be, we call them innovators. Like, they have to be an innovative
Yeah.
spirit to work with us, because if people just want things the same, and they just kind of, they want their logos blue but they kind of want it to be purple, like, they could see someone else about that, right? Like, we're gonna
Yeah.
really elevate it and bring it to something that it needs to be, and differentiate it within the market, and really do that with some new, different ways of working. And so yeah, we really like don't think about competition a lot. And really, people choose us because we have that difference of transformation, really. So it a lot of people focus on just kind of taking what's there, and kind of marginally improving it here and there, and that's great. Like, there's a, that's not a bad thing, right? But um,
Right.
really, people come to us when they're, either early or even mid-stage startup, and they're just ready for growth, but they don't have scalable systems to, like, with visual design, say, or their website is just duct taped together, and so they're looking to grow, and like, things are going to break if they grow, right? And
Yeah.
so yeah, we like really come in and like sell the transformation, and that's what it is. And we have seen that be a great outcome for clients.
Yeah, I like that. So this is actually, it's going to lead me into marketing, which is always vital. And of course, you guys are a marketing company, so you know it's very
Yeah.
vital for every business out there. And a lot of
Yeah.
businesses do struggle. So I'm
Yeah.
curious of what successful businesses are doing. So what percentage of
Mm.
your monthly sales is typically invested back into your marketing budget?
Yeah. So we also think of marketing a little bit differently. We primarily love word of mouth marketing and just our networking. So that's ideal, right? You spend zero marketing dollars. You
Right.
work with a client, they loved your work, they tell two people, they come to you, it's already pre-vetted. You don't have to spend a lot of time saying, like, this is why we're great, and here's a testimonial of what we've done. They kind of like, so
Right.
so that's our ideal, right? Like, you don't, it's word of mouth. And I think that speaks to like quality of work, and doing these transformations that really make people stop, and like, I asked them to do this, but they really like took our brand to this place, and like, that's made a
Mm,
huge difference. That said, like, that, those come in whenever they want, and you can't repeatably like have that, right? So
right.
we've tested different things, but um social has been a huge thing, and it's organic social. We've tried ads in different ways, because you look at that, and from a logical perspective, it's, I spend $5 on an ad, and I get a client that usually spends 5,000 with us. So that's like a very clear, like, I can scale that and it works, right? But we found like the quality clients aren't, you know,
Hmm.
always there. I think alignment with what you're doing and the fact that we don't work and operate like a lot of other companies, we need kind of clients to buy into that, to work with us. And so really, there's this idea of founder-led marketing, and on social, you're
Mm.
just, you be yourself as a founder. You talk about things you love. You talk about how you love your work and what you're doing that's, different and new, and that's just magnetic, and people, reach out from that. So it's really a lot of organic, and so I spend a lot of time on that, not necessarily like, a bunch of marketing dollars being spent on
Yeah, I
ads.
was gonna say, do you guys do your own marketing, or do you have another company that you go through that does your marketing?
Yeah, no, we do our own. So yeah, we do
Nice,
own
nice.
everything, right? And so that's one thing we know is like marketing. And that's, as a designer in my career before, I always worked on a marketing team. And then, companies, unless they're a lot larger, don't have a separate brand team. So usually the marketing people are the brand, people.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and so yeah, I like kind of understand that whole thing. But starting my own business, that's like what I knew. But that only
Mm-hmm.
gets you so far, right? So I had to learn a lot of the other things. But yeah, marketing, we try to not spend money on marketing, really, because we really focus on that just organic growth, and just, if you are very clear about what you do and who you are and how you do it, then like people know that and they come to you. So there's like a distribution. That's where social is amazing, right? Like you can,
Yeah.
send a post and get thousands of people seeing it. And someone told me, right, like that's, if you imagine like you were giving a keynote or you said something and like 2,000 people showed up to listen to you, you'd be like really, impressed and big. But like if you're on your
Yeah.
laptop, you're like doing a post and you send it, it's just like, a normal thing. But the reach and
Right.
distribution of that is huge. So I think like everyone should focus on that.
Yeah, I love that. And I like how you guys do your own marketing, because then it also shows that you guys know that you how to do your job.
Yeah.
So then
Yeah.
people
It's
are
a
like, yeah,
perfect
like this is
sure.
perfect example. So
Exactly.
of
Yeah.
course, you so moving on from marketing to sales, what does your guys' sales process look like? Like if I were to refer someone over to you, what can they expect to experience as you guide them on the choice to do business with you?
Yeah, so I think alignment is the first thing. So, like I said, our big filter is innovators ready for transformation. So we just try to understand from them, like, are, what's what's the sort of purpose or inflection point that brought you here? Like, um, are you did you if for startups that we work with, right, you typically is a new
Mm-hmm.
round of funding that they get. So they'll get a Series B funding, and so they're ready to invest money in their brand and marketing and design, to really fund and like stage their next kind of stage of growth. And so we just try to understand like what they're at, what they're looking for. And so if they are an innovator ready for transformation, then we know that they're a client of ours and that we can really speak to them and show them work that we've done, that really shows that, and shows how brand could be a multiplier of everything else in your business, right? And like Apple is a great example, right? Like they can charge whatever they want because their brand is so strong and they have so much
Yeah.
loyalty. So it's we try to just do really great work and then share that with the right people. And then we have a lot of other partners too where maybe it's not a good fit, and so we'll send them to someone else. Um, but really that process, it looks like a quick 15-minute discovery call, and then just to have that alignment, and then if that's there, then we kind of jump in and do a proposal based on that, have another meeting potentially, or exchange emails about really the details of what they want. And then like
Mm-hmm.
I said, we're really like, um, we want to give people what they want, sure, but we also want to give them what they need, right? And
Yeah.
so a lot of times, we've had clients, come in, they just want a website, or they want to add a couple pages to their website. But really look at it and it's like, okay, well, you can do that, but it's not going to have as big an impact as like actually you're going through a big change right now. You need to set up your brand to reflect where you're going, not where you've been, right? So a lot of people's websites are
Hmm.
2 or 3 years old, 5 years old, and they just like they aren't even close to like what they're doing now and where they want to be. And so we try to get them there and doing it efficiently. And so our proposals will typically kind of have these different stages and tiers where they can kind of make that choice, right? Do we
Yeah.
want to just go with what we thought, or do we want to actually, you spend some more, invest some more, and get a lot better outcome that's really, again, transformational for their business. And so really that's where it becomes an investment in your brand and marketing, and that over the long term always wins. So
Yeah. I was gonna say, because you were kind of talking about like the different tiers of, I think you're talking about like the cost of things. Is that correct?
yeah.
So do you have like a base price for certain things, or is it just kind of based off of what they're wanting? Like, and you guys discussed that in like the discovery call,
Yeah, I mean, we have
or through
some
email?
general internal kind of guides, but it really comes down to where they're at in their business, the transformation that they're looking to have, and what impact will that have. So it's typically referred to as like value-based pricing. So
Hmm.
um, we just did a great brand for someone who's very small, starting out. It's just her. She has dreams and hopes and wants to build those, but like is like kind of you know at the very beginning of starting something new. So
Mm.
we're not charging her the same as we do for, like, again, a startup, an AI startup that has Series B
That was
funding.
going to be another question. I was gonna say, like, would you charge the same for a startup as you would as like someone that's a little bigger? But yeah, you just answered that.
Right?
Cool.
Yeah, and so it's value-based pricing where like the impact of a brand redesign and a new website for a Series B company that's getting, hundreds of thousands of people on their website a month, it doesn't make sense to charge everyone, a flat rate for that type of thing.
Right. Okay. I like that. Okay, so you have mentioned having a few team members. Like we talked about it a little bit earlier, so I'm going to bring it back to that because I think it's important to address the topic of building a great team. So, how would you describe your leadership style in business, and has it changed over the years at all?
Hmm. Yes, it has changed. I was I'm not afraid to say it. I was a micromanager early on in my career, and as a designer, like I became, you're an individual contributor at first, and you kind of work through like mid-level designer, senior designer, and then somewhere in there, people want you to become a manager and start managing other
Yeah,
people, and so I kind of like obliged and did that, and like psyched myself up, and like I'm gonna be a manager, I'm gonna do it and be really good. I didn't enjoy it so much, right? Because I just didn't know like what I was doing. I wasn't comfortable in my own skin
yeah,
doing that. But when it came to running my own business and bringing people in for that, I knew what I was doing. I knew what I wanted. I 100% believed in the mission that I have, and so it really flows pretty easily. But I'm gonna come back to that like transformation idea because it's really transformational leadership. So it's giving there's kind of what's called do tell next. So you or tell check next. Sorry. So you tell
okay.
an employee what to do, you check that they did it, and you move on to the next thing. So that's like it's transactional leadership, right? Like do this
Yeah,
thing, I hired you for it. I'm gonna check that you did it, be a micromanager, and then like we're gonna move on to the next thing that needs to be done. And so really like transformational leadership is putting the ownership on the employee and saying like you own this. Like with Rachel, like you own client communications, you're the project manager too, so you own these things. I'm going to tell you the process that I think works, and then really you own that, and come to me with, like, if you're having a pain point, come to me with a solution, right, that you want to use
hmm,
to solve that, and we'll talk about it. So I think it's really supporting people where they're at, figuring out what they want and need from the job that they're in. So maybe it is more autonomy in their job. And so I work, with people who are remote. And so I don't tell them when to work, right? We just set
Yeah.
a kind of a goalpost of like, what needs to be done and then giving them freedom to do it. But with that, you have to measure everything, right? So you have to measure like, are things getting done? So yeah, I try to manage like more hands off now,
Yeah.
and we've used even like personality testing for everyone in the company. So that
I
really
love
helps.
personality tests.
Yeah, it really helps a lot because you do kind of understand people in a deeper way, and you could work better as a team.
Hmm. Yeah, it's funny because me and my boyfriend, we were out with some of his coworkers recently, and they've all taken personality tests, and I've taken multiple before, and my boyfriend's never taken one. So we made him do it
Yeah.
at the bar. We were like, do it right now. And
It's
everyone he
free.
kept
Yeah.
picking, yeah, everyone he kept picking though, it kept telling him he had to pay for it, and we were like, no, you need to do this way. We sent him the link. We were like, just do this one. This one's free. I don't know
Yeah.
what you're clicking on, but you're clicking on the wrong one. But it's so
Yeah,
funny. Oh my gosh.
it's so cool. And yeah, it works in every relationship you have. Like it
Yeah,
helps you just understand things more, and then you can different people want to be led different ways, and really like your company should be able to like be big enough to people should be able to have a dream of their own to grow and change and work on that.
yeah,
Like they shouldn't just put hours in at your job and then like want to move on. I really focus again on that transformation, right? So like giving people a budget or paying for like any sort of training that they want to do that will help them be better at their job, like that's a value. So it is like
yeah.
really focusing on those things and letting the person like grow into something better than when they started working.
Yeah, I like that. I love whenever someone is supportive. We have supportive people here, so I love my job.
Yeah, and that's it, right? Like you love your job if you're given autonomy and are supported and a path to growth, and if people understand you and what you want, like that's the dream, right?
Exactly. So I know you hire people outside of your job to help with some of these projects. So what has been your approach to hiring and I guess like retaining these people for later? Um, yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. I don't know if that was like kind
No,
of weird
that's
how I ended that,
okay.
but yeah.
Yeah. I think the process is really I think first there has to be you have to very clear like a problem well defined is half solved. So having a really good job description of knowing exactly what you want from a certain role or a certain person um, is really important, right? Because then when you put that out, you're going to get people that already are kind of aligned to that and fit within that. Um, and then it's really like uh, taking all the people who come in, or like I said, like we do a lot of freelance and partnerships with other agencies, but same filter, right? Like if it's an agency we partner with, we want to make sure they're aligned with our goals and our process and way of working. And so first it's like a great understanding description of what you need and want, and then um, finding people who are aligned to that, and then also finding out what their motivations are, right? So in when it comes to certain projects, like a high profile client and doing work for them, maybe like getting that in their portfolio of things that they've done is really important, right? So, they're willing to work on a tighter deadline because they want to have that, and that's a motivation. And maybe, people I think assume money is like the only motivator for employees, and it's
Right.
just not true, right? I mean, it
No.
it's an internship if you don't pay someone for work, and that's bad, right?
Yeah.
You cannot call that a job, but like you don't have to pay people the highest to get the best people, and I've seen that in startups I've worked with is they do spend a ton of money on the best people, but there's no
Hmm.
alignment with their goal, and so then that person starts taking the company a different direction, or is doing processes and things that don't align with what you want, and so they could be really
Yeah.
really smart, and if things aren't aligned, then it tends to fall apart. So
I like that answer. That was a great answer.
Thank you.
So let's actually fast forward and look at what's to come next. So where do you see your business in the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, I have no clue. I don't know. I feel like the world is changing so fast that it's smart to
It
stay
really
open.
is.
It really is, and I think that AI is going to be a huge part of it, whether people want that or not. And we kind of see around the corner with AI a little bit since we work with a lot of AI startups and we use it in our processes already. Um, it's really it's really the Wild West. Like you have to spend a lot of time with different systems and seeing if they work and crafting prompts and doing different processes. So I think instead of like setting goals for like 3 or 5 years, um, I think you have the goal can be like I want to be more autonomous. Maybe as the owner, I want to work less hours in the business. So maybe that's
Mhm.
the goal. But then the how we get there, you have to kind of stay open to and be a little bit of kind of see what's developing and what's happening. I think it's a great time for people who want to start small business or do solopreneurship or write a book and have that and do speaking circuit like um, really there's a ton of tools and ways to really quickly get up and running doing that and it is like with the right mindset. So um
Yeah.
yeah we don't know what it's going to look like in 3 to 5 years, who knows, but we're trying to create systems and processes that can account for change and stay
Yeah.
flexible. So staying small is, I think, the best way to do that. And
Yeah.
having a large network of partnerships, you can move around to different things. So yeah,
I
we
like
try to
that.
stay open.
That's nice. And then it's also easier. I feel like it's easier when you say smaller, then you don't have to tell like 15 other people what's going on, especially with AI or whatever. Like AI is blowing my
Yeah,
mind. I've just recently really gotten into AI. I was one of those people that was trying to not get into it, but then I think I just told someone I had a friend who was talking about how it helped him with his job and blah blah blah, and I was just
yeah,
like, you know what, that makes a lot of sense. That would help me with a couple hours out of my job. I would get out of work faster. So yeah, I
yeah,
was like, I'm all in.
yeah. Yeah. It's so true. So yeah, like sticking your hand or sticking your head in the sand is like not a great plan, right? Like
No, because I was
this
like, I don't want
is
to be like those old people who are just like stuck in their ways.
yeah.
And I'm not even old. So I was like, yeah, I can't be that person.
Yeah, like if you're retiring from the workforce in a few years, like don't learn AI. That's fine. Just like phone it in and get retirement, right? Like sure. But like if you're in your like any age range below retirement age, it's going to have to be a part of your job no matter what job you have, especially
Yeah.
like knowledge workers in offices like and so yeah, like you have to kind of um explore with it and see, it is amazingly powerful um and again being in more of the business community talking to other business owners like they are using it to in their processes to make it more efficient, right? And so
Yeah.
yeah, I think if you're just like in a job and just hoping that job will keep you on forever and you don't have to do anything different in your job, and that's a pretty bad place to be right now. Because we don't know what 3 to 5 years will look like, but it will look like, people who can kind of work with AI and automation and all these other technologies can like kind of co-work with that and
Yeah.
move and change with it. Those are the people who will have like really high value jobs in the future. So
Yeah. Yeah. I need to get my brother and my boyfriend on board because they're always late to everything. So
well yeah, and
they'll
there's
probably
like
get
so
there in
it's
like 3 years.
there's an adoption bell curve, right? And that a lot most people are in the middle, right? So
Hmm.
I had actually worked with AI companies in 2017. One was like a voice AI company when Amazon Alexa first came out. Like they used
Hmm.
AI to for a bunch of things and everything. So I've just seen it from early on, and like even I didn't
Yeah.
really understand it then, and that was like and then there was like this quiet period where it was silently in the background, like um, working on algorithms and doing a lot of machine learning with all the data it had. And now, like with the generative AI, like that's where, you know, a societal change is happening where it's like
Yes.
everyone can see this and experience. But it's been there for a long time, and business owners have been using it in their businesses for a long time. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's yeah, I think people
Very
get
interesting.
yeah, generative AI like mixed up with AI in general because you know only part of AI is generative, and it's amazing. It's the most magical part that everyone knows and understands, but there's a lot behind the scenes where it can really improve processes in business, you know, in the background and just learning from your data and everything.
Yeah. All right. So as we wrap up, I do have a few rapid fire questions. Are you ready for those?
No.
Well, they're coming your way.
Okay, okay, let's do it.
Okay. So what is the key to success for you?
It's focus, really focus. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely someone who needs more focus. I think I need to buy that gum that's like everyone's been talking about on TikTok that makes you focus. I need that.
Yeah,
No,
focus is the
definitely
number
need
one
that.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could
Okay.
do you
So
could do anything, you just can't do everything is kind of the idea. So focus is a good filter.
yeah. Okay. So what is a book or podcast that you are reading or listening to right now?
Yeah, Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. So it's Buy Back Your Time. And Dan Martell is the author. Is
I
an
was gonna say I
amazing
think
book.
I've heard of that book before.
Yeah, it's pretty popular right now. It's been out for a couple years, but I reread it all the time and listen to it on Audible. But that as a business owner, that's been the most transformational thing for me as a business owner. And just this idea of the whole point is like um, really to not build a business that you grow to hate, right? And not work only in the business, but work on the business and use different resources in different ways to buy back your time, right? Because time is one thing you'll never get back. So if you
Never.
spend some money on administrative work or hire out someone to do accounting and buy back your time, you could focus more on sales, get more work, bring in, you know, so it's like really great book.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a fun question. If you had a little bit of magic dust and you could choose this one spot in your business to sprinkle it on, where would that be?
Yeah, that's a great question. Right now it's sales processes, so really nailing down the sales process and that workflow. I would love to streamline that more so we can get clients onboarded and ready and get to the work that we love, which is creating new things. So
Awesome. Okay, so before we get to the final question of the day, would you please share with our audience how they can follow you and learn more and contact you?
yeah, so I'm Mike DeSart on LinkedIn or other socials, but also DeSart Studios, DESART Studios. Most active on LinkedIn, but others as well. And our website is desartstudios.com. So studios plural.com. Yeah, reach out anytime.
All right. Well, we have come to the final question. Okay, I gave it to you earlier, but I will definitely
Mhm.
repeat it. So it is, what is most inspiring to you today?
Yeah, I think it's we're at a point now where like really there's such a low bar to start something new and different and to do it. I know people who have zero technical experience that are building apps in AI and things like that. So it's inspiring to see people. And for myself, I love music and I'm just not great at it. So I've used music AI apps and like in my head, it's producing the things that I've been wanting to, the sound that I want to hear and so it's just such a low bar. It's really inspiring to see like all those things and how people use them, just
Yeah.
even in their hobbies, let alone for job and like put efficiency and everything aside. It's
Yeah.
just fun. So
People on social media surprise me all the time, especially
yeah,
with like some of their videography. Like,
right,
I'm like, how did you do that?
exactly,
Like,
yeah.
I went
And
to
such
art
a low
school and I
bar.
learned this stuff, and I'm like, I don't remember learning how to do that.
Yeah, yeah. You don't need $10,000 worth of equipment, right? Like it's a
No.
great time. It's a great time to be alive, I think, and a lot, explore all of that stuff, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, this, of course, was a great conversation. I really did enjoy hearing your story. So thank you for sharing it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. But
Thank
also,
you.
yes. And I also want to encourage all of you who are watching to save this show and come back and watch it again because Mike really did have some great insights for business. Also, do not forget to like and subscribe to our channel so that you can get notifications every time a new conversation drops just like this one. Thank you to everyone who joined us today, and a special thank you to you, Mike, for being here today. Again, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Jada. Appreciate it.